Greetings, everyone. Do you know what it's time for? I'll tell you what it's time for. It's time for a Barry, you're sort of off camera right now, I've noticed. You're sort of in, like, this cool side profile or whatever, like, the story of Barry D. Brick. So let's just bring you over there. There we go. That's better. Okay. Where was I? Oh yes, we're in the middle of a battle right now. That's what we're in the middle of. Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed. I mean, it's been happening for a while now. Actually, here's a fun fact for you. Do you know how long we've been in the middle of this battle at Onigashima right now? Take a wild guess. Just go ahead and guess. Guess any number. I don't care. I won't be able to hear it. But here's the number, okay? If you consider the start of this current battle right at the end of Oden's flashback, like when we saw Luffy and Kid and Law arrive in the ocean to help the Scabbards out, and then Jinbe shows up. If you consider that the start of the battle at Onigashima with Kaido, then we've been in this fight for 50 chapters now. 50 chapters already. Time flies when you're fighting a giant dragon duckfish, right? And Big Mom's stomping around. Man, you just lose track of the days. As for how long the actual fight has been going on in the context of the story, I couldn't tell you. A couple of hours, maybe even not that long, because a lot of these fights happen, like, concurrently with each other. Like, all of the Straw Hats were probably, like, fighting the Tobiropo all pretty much at the same time, and they all defeated them roughly at the same time. So, yeah, the only real time frame we have is Onigashima, you know, heading to the Flower Capital. A couple of chapters ago, it was like, you know, the narrator came on and said, Onigashima is now over mainland Wano, and it will take 15 minutes to reach the Flower Capital. So, right there, I mean, if you look at a map of Wano, you know, the distance from Onigashima to the shore, and then the distance from the shore to the Flower Capital, if you equate that to be about the same distance, maybe it would take 15 minutes for Onigashima to reach mainland Wano, and then another 15 minutes to reach the Flower Capital. So that thing's only been in the air for like half an hour, which does make sense, because you think with Kaido's mythical dragon powers to lift up the island and then move it, you know, how fast is Onigashima moving? I'm getting off topic already. The speed of which a giant island with a muffin on top of it can reach the mainland with a magic flying flame cloud, that's a discussion for another video, okay? But for right now, I wanted to talk about the battle itself moving to the final stage, because in the review, I brought up the question of, like, where are we right now in the battle? Are we moving toward the final stage? And after I went back and reevaluated everything, I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, honestly, like, when it comes to the fodder soldiers of Kaido's crew, like the waiters and the pleasures, we don't have to worry about those soldiers, okay? You know, even if, like, there's a bunch of them left over after Kaido is defeated, Luffy could literally just Conqueror's Haki and knock them all out. Or Zoro could do it, or Yamato could do it. There's a lot of people. Usopp could do it. Usopp doesn't even need to use Conquerors. He just needs to walk into the hallway after Kaido was defeated and be like, hey, your boss lost. He's dead. So give up now and spare the wrath of my Conqueror's Haki. And I think most of the waiters and pleasures would just be like, all right, throw down their swords and whatever, okay? When it comes to the gifters, yeah, there's still a few of those that might be working on Kaido's side, but for the most part, they have Tama there with her Kibi Dango strategy. Play the clip. Yeah, there we go. Tama is the ruler of hell! You know? I love that. I just love that as, like, the whole operation of the Beast Pirates led by Kaido, who is the most wanted pirate still active in the world. He's referred to as, like, the strongest, not even the strongest human, the strongest beast or the strongest monster that exists. His entire strategy, which has been built up for, like, literally decades, was tossed out the window by an 8-year-old girl with the ability to manipulate animals. That's hilarious to me. But anyway, yeah, so most of the gifters are on, you know, the rebellion side right now, and even if there are some gifters out there that aren't, they can easily become with the Dango strategy, and, you know, Usopp is the sniper. He just shoots them into the mouths of these gifters, and they're done. Most of the headliners are already working for them, right? So they're pretty much off the table. And then the Tobiropo, if they are down and out, if they're down for good, that's it. Okay, Drake is still around, but he's no longer a Tobiropo, but, you know, he's still there. He's definitely helping the rebellion, so that's even more for their side. Really, the only people we have left that can put up a fight are the All-Stars, you know, Jack, Queen, and King, and they all have their respective fights going on right now. And then Kaido himself. And Kaido's currently fighting against Yamato. Big Mom is, of course, still there. I brought up Big Mom's crew in the video as if, like, Oda really wanted to make the fight go on a little bit longer, which that was before I really realized, yeah, 50 50 chapters already. Wow, that's pretty crazy. When you also factor in that Wano is only like 115 chapters in, because it started at chapter 909 and we're at chapter 1024 right now, so that's about 115 chapters. So 50 of that has just been the fight at Onigashima. And you know, I'm the one that wanted the Tobiropo fights to last even longer than they already were. I apologize, because that's before I knew that statistic. You know, 50 chapters. Jesus, okay. Yeah, they were already long enough. So yeah, I mean, if Oda really wants to have the Straw Hats, like the remaining Straw Hats, fight against some strong opponents and not just fodder soldiers, I mean, I love Frankie, but just watching Frankie go around the remainder of this arc, just, you know, strong right, and just machine gunning down like a bunch of the random waiters and pleasures of Kaido's crew, that's not really interesting. So I guess you could bring Big Mom's crew in, and we've already established them at Totland, so you don't really have to focus on them too much, but it's like, you know, Galette fights against Nami, the Butter Lady. Butter Lady fights against Nami. That'll probably be a sexy fight. And then you can have, I don't know, Smoothie fight against Frankie. I would say I would want Smoothie to fight against Jinbe, but while all this is going on, also to sort of set the stage for the final battle, to sort of have like a ticking clock in the background, is the fire. The fire that Orochi started, like, I am the Orochi, and I'm gonna burn Kaido's castle down. Yeah, that's actually going to become an issue, because that is something that has been increasing over and over again every single chapter, all right? To the point where last chapter, the third floor where Brook and Robin were fighting Black Maria is pretty much an entire inferno right now. So Brook runs out of that, like, yo, that was close. I almost burned my flesh. Of course, I don't have flesh myself, yo, but Robin does, so it's good that I got out of there. But they also alerted Jinbe, who was fighting on the fourth floor, like, hey, Jinbe, you better get down here, because pretty soon that third floor is going to be, you're not going to be able to get through it. So then I started to think maybe Jinbe is going to head up instead of down, and so he goes up to the 5th floor and then to the roof, and then who's on the roof? Well, right now Yamato is fighting Kaido, but Luffy and Momo are going to show up soon. We'll probably have like a really cool, like, you know, a dragon on dragon battle, like Momo and Kaido start duking it out in the sky, and then meanwhile Luffy and Yamato are there just watching it, and then Jinbe walks up and he's just like, hey, I was trying to get out of here, but, you know, it's basically a fire downstairs, so I don't know how we're gonna get off here, but, oh, hey, look, there's 2 dragons fighting. Hey, Luffy, you need any help? And Luffy's like, yeah, I mean, sure, why not, right? And so Jinbe just joined. It would be cool to have Jinbe have more than one fight in this arc. I mean, I love Frankie, I love Robin, but if there was one Straw Hat other than, like, Luffy and Zoro that would have multiple fights during this battle, go with Jinbe. Have Jinbe help Luffy and Yamato as well. Just because Yamato is fighting Kaido right now doesn't mean that she's gonna be like, you know, she's gonna be defeated, and then boom, and then like, oh no, Luffy shows up, and then like, Yamato, join my crew after this battle's over. And Yamato's like, okay, but first we have to kill my dad first. And like, okay, we'll make that work. You know, it could be a situation where they show up and Yamato's about to be like defeated, or, you know, is very winded, but then Luffy teams up, and then Momo's there too, and then Jinbe shows up. So it's like Jinbe, Yamato, Luffy, and Momo all fighting Kaido at once, because I want to believe that Luffy is going to get the final blow on Kaido. I want to believe that. I still believe that he's going to get the final attack on Kaido. But I'm just saying, Luffy has kind of ran with the strategy of, I got this, one-on-one. And, he's done that twice now, and it has not worked out that well for him, okay? Has not worked out in the slightest here. So, I'm feeling like, yeah, I think Luffy's going to need some help, because how hilarious, I mean, it would be funny to see Luffy be like, bring it on, Kaido, woohoo! And he just gets knocked off the top of the mountain again, okay? Now, yes, Momo is going to help him, so he already has, you know, not just himself, but still, Yamato and Jinbe, you know, throw them in there too. I think it'll work, okay? So, yeah, this is the final stage where everybody, I feel, is going to, everybody other than Luffy and, you know, Yamato and Kaido and everybody, is pretty much just going to be pushed forcibly, because of the fire, to the live stage, okay? Because the live stage is on the 1st floor, the fire's going to rise, it's going to burn through the pagoda and, like, the you know, the feudal tower and everything that Kaido has, okay? Now, when I say everybody, I mean everybody. Everybody's going to make it to the live stage. So the Straw Hats, the Beast Pirates, you know, you got Tama and her group of gifters and everything like that, but also the CP0, also, Orochi, as well as, Fuku Rokuju, if, Raizo doesn't defeat him first, which might happen. But the remaining members of the Oniwaban and the Mimawari Gumi, whoever's left, everybody's going to be pushed there to the festival stage, okay? And then, once the festival stage catches fire, which I would assume that would eventually happen, they would have to be pushed out of the mountain. Wouldn't it be crazy if, it's still, like, hovering? Like, Kaido doesn't drop it on the Flower Capital right away. It's just, like, hovering very ominously. It parks. Like, Kaido puts the flame clouds in park right over the Flower Capital, and everybody's looking up like, oh man, that's not good. But then it's like, so is it just going to stay up there? Is it going to fall? And Kaido's like, I'm gonna wait until I defeat all of you pissants. Once everybody's dead, then I'll drop it, and then boom, my reign can begin, right? Like something like that. And so because of that, everybody might get pushed out of the Muffin Mountain, on the perimeter of Onigashima, like, we're gonna fall, but then there's a fire. Like, you understand, like, this fire might grow so out of control that the entirety of Muffin Mountain, that giant skull, might just be awash in flames. So you see flames and smoke coming out of the eye sockets in the mouth, like, it would look demonic as hell. Meanwhile, 2 dragons, a monkey, a wolf god, and Jinbe, a whale shark, are all fighting on top at the same time. Oh my god, like Chopper and everybody run out of Onigashima, there's a giant fire, they turn around, it's hell. It's literally like hell just happening behind them. He's like, look up there! 2 dragons firing lightning at each other, Luffy's in gear 4th, like King Kong gun, and then, Yamato's in the epic, the elegant wolf form, jumping around, and Jinbe's firing water everywhere. It's like, this is insanity, and this isn't even the final battle of this series. We still have some stuff left to go, right? So yeah, I think that's probably a very likely thing. Now, CP0, what are they going to do? If the fire results in them going to the festival stage, would they... Well, they can't really leave. I mean, I guess they can, because if they're CP0, they all know Geppo. So I guess they could technically just jump off the side of Onigashima and just Geppo their way down, or use Kamiye. I guess jump off of Onigashima and then use Kamiye to, like, float down like a piece of paper in the breeze, and then they could land in mainland Wano, and they could just be like, we're leaving, we're out of here, we're going to go back to Marijois, we're going to report what's all happening here, there, and, figure out our next step after this is over, right? I think the main reason CP0 is there, other than, like, doing the negotiations with Orochi, the goal is for them to determine who's going to win, right? Like, okay, report back, like, Kaido's winning, or, the rebellion is going to win. They want to be there for the finale, but they might have to leave before that, because I don't think they want to get into a battle. I mean, if they were battle crazy to that point, they would have probably already gotten involved, you know what I mean? Like, so if it gets to that point where they can't stay in their little reception room anymore and the whole place is burning down, I think they would just leave rather than join the fight themselves. I mean, they might have to fight to get out. I mean, they might try to escape and be like, okay, everybody, just tiptoe your way out of Wano, and then all of a sudden the Beast Pirates, or maybe one of the rebellions, like one of the Straw Hats, are like, oh my god, you're CP0! I'm like, crap, and then they have to fight their way out, but I don't think they would get into the battle themselves. Now, what about mainland Wano? What about all the people that are there right now? So, I'm going to assume that when Luffy said to Momo, like, let's go back up to Onigashima, let's defeat Kaido, I'm going to assume it's not going to just be Momo and Luffy. I feel like Shinobu would definitely go with them, because Shinobu's job was sort of to guard Momonosuke. Maybe she feels like her job is kind of over now that Momo is an adult and he's a dragon, but she still might feel like she has to watch over him. Then again, though, Shinobu was crying over the way Momo looked when he was an adult, meaning that he probably resembles Odin very closely, and so that's why Shinobu was crying. So maybe she feels like, oh, I don't need to watch over him anymore, he's fine, but she should know that's like, okay, he might be physically 28, but he's still a child, I still want to watch over him. So Shinobu might go. Law's crew definitely want to go, I mean, absolutely, like Jean Bart and everybody there, they have to go help their captain, so I would imagine they would hop on the back of Momo as well, and they would all head up there. Caribou, I feel like Caribou, like, they would force him to go. I feel like, he would be, like, trying to escape, like, you guys have fun, I'm gonna go to the can over here. I really gotta pee. And it's like Luffy's just like, nope, you're coming too. I'm like, damn it, and then they all go up to Onigashima together there. But with that being said, we still have Tekking101, Hitetsu, that is still in the flower capital with Otoko, Yasuie's adoptive daughter. So they're all still there. So there might be still something to work out here. Considering that Tekking101 is in mainland and Momo's in the mainland and Tengu has the Ame no Habakiri, I was thinking, I guess this could happen. Honestly, it could happen like Momo could turn into a dragon, go up to Onigashima, drop Luffy off, maybe fight Kaido a little bit, but then Kaido, knocks him back because Momo is still inexperienced, knocks Momo back, and Momo hits mainland Wano, and then Tekking101's there, and he's like, oh, Momonosuke, oh, you've grown, and he's like, yeah. He's like, hey, do you still have my father's sword? And he's like, yes, of course, I carry it with me always. And it's like, cool, I think I'm ready to have it now. And he's like, here's Ame no Habakiri. Momo grabs it, turns into a dragon again, flies right back, because, if Momo's a dragon, just a straight-up giant dragon right now, he could pretty much just fly back up whenever he gets knocked down, so I guess that could work for him. He could just fly down. He's like, hold on a second, Luffy, I have to go get my sword. Thank you, and then fly right back up, right? He could do that. So, yeah, I would love to see Momo, looking like Odin with the Ame no Habakiri, getting a slash attack out on Kaido. Just for old time's sake, just to kind of avenge his old man, kind of something like that. That would be very poetic. That'd be really cool to see there. As for Yamato, the popular opinion right now is that Yamato is going to be a Straw Hat, especially since Momonosuke, he's an adult now, so I don't think it's going to be a situation where Momo is going to be an apprentice pirate for the Straw Hats. It really does seem to me that Momo is just going to be the Shogun of Wano. That's kind of the goal that the Scabbards have. That's what they're really fighting for. Even Raizo admitted that. We're here to make sure that Momo will sit on the throne and become the new Shogun of Wano. So, I guess, you could have a discussion about this. You could have a moment where Momo has to choose, kind of like Vivi had to choose between her kingdom or going out to sea. Momo will probably have something very similar. But it'll be a little bit different for Momo because it's all the Scabbards, their journey, the reason they fought was to end Kaido's rule and start the dawn of a new era with a Kozuki clan member on the throne. Now, Hiyori also is around too, and you could shatter the sort of tradition of Wano by having Hiyori be the new shogun. Or you could have Momo and Hiyori basically rule together. That could work as well. But the way I'm looking at this right now is Momo, he's going to have a tough choice to make, but he's also going to be like, this is what the war was for. The war was, the reason everybody fought was for me to be on the throne and for me to be the shogun, and take back our land. And I think Momo will feel very selfish if he does anything other than that. Now, you could say that's a good reason or a bad reason. You could say, maybe the Scabbards would, bow down before Momo and, accept whatever decision he wanted to make. But at the end of the day, I think they all want Momo to be the shogun, and I think Momo is going to be the shogun. So if that's the case, Momo is not going to join. I guess Otama could still be, an apprentice on the crew, maybe, but I don't think the Straw Hats are going to have apprentices, just because, Roger's crew had them, Whitebeard's crew had them, doesn't mean the Straw Hats need to have apprentice pirates, little kids, pirates in training or anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen, especially since we're so close to the end of the story. Maybe if this would have happened, earlier in One Piece, maybe it would have made sense, but at this point, we're so close to the finale, I don't think it's going to go down. So, with that being the case, we only really have two viable options, and that's, of course, Yamato and also Carrot. I don't think Carrot's going to happen, but, I would love for her to join, but it just seems we're not really focusing on Carrot so much. No, this arc is definitely more about Yamato, at least during the last few chapters in the last episode when Yamato finally made her appearance. That's happening now. So, yeah, I think it's looking like Yamato's going to join, and if that's the case, we can have, two powerhouses that just recently joined, Jinbe and Yamato, and, we don't have to worry about training or anything like a difference in power level or anything like that. Otama's ability would be very useful using the dongos and everything like that, but it really is only effective on the Smile users. It's sort of like a Devil Fruit power that was tailor-made to fight against Kaido's crew. Alright, so in any other situation, it could be useful to tame animals, but, I don't think Tama's going to join. So, if we're just going ahead with Yamato, let's go full steam ahead on that. But yeah, I would still like to see the final battle be more than just Luffy. Luffy, Momo, Yamato, Jinbe, Zoro as well, but I think after the fight with King, Zoro is going to be out of gas. He's just gonna pass out there. Unless maybe he could, like, pop up and get, like, one attack out on Kaido and then the effects of the drug hit him. I mean, like, there's a reason why Oda brought that up. Like, oh, there's this magic drug that'll bring you back to full power, but for a limited time only. And they've mentioned it multiple times, like, the kickback from that's gonna be intense. It's gonna hit him. And so I think it's gonna hit him like a truck. It's gonna be pretty bad, right? But yeah, that's the situation there. Now, how much longer do we have in the arc itself? Oh, man, I don't know. So we're at chapter 1024. We're still not done with Act 3, which I made a video about that before, whether or not Oda is just going to go with the 3-act Kabuki play structure, which does exist. There is a precedence for that. But the typical, like, standard traditional Kabuki play structure is 5 acts. So, I mean, like, unless something really bad happens, like it looks like Yamato is about to die at the end of Act 3, maybe we might just have 3 acts, or we might move on to Act 4 being just, like, literally Act 4 is just, you know, the final battle with Kaido, and it's like, you know, I don't know, 10 chapters might be a little bit too much, maybe like 6, 7, 8 chapters of just, like, the straight up final battle with Kaido. You know, maybe it could be 10 chapters or a dozen chapters if you include the fight with Big Mom in there too, with, like, Kid and Law fighting Big Mom. That fight I would imagine the way it's structured now, the all-star fights have to happen first. So we see probably Inuarashi defeating Jack, and then we see Sanji and Zoro defeat King and Queen at about the same time. And then after that, we cut over to Big Mom fighting Kid and Law, and then that'll be the penultimate fight. And then after that fight's over, the last thing, the only thing we have left to do is defeat Kaido. And then that'll be it. So I think that's the way the structure is going to go from here on out, okay? I could be wrong, but that's the way I'm looking at it, right? And then as for the 5th act, going along with the Kabuki play structure, it's a very quick resolution. The 5th act might only be 1 or 2 chapters, and that's it. And then we leave Wano, and then we go to our next adventure. So, I don't know. So we're 1025, next chapter. How about we just do 1050? I mean, that'll be 25 chapters. We can put a lot of stuff in there. And like I said, there's really not that many fights left. Oh, yeah, I guess Perospero versus Nekomamushi, but I don't think that's going to be much of a fight. Nekomamushi is in his Sulong form with his Catling gun, and Wanda and Carrot are also there with the moon. They could go into Sulong for maybe just a little bit, and Perospero is already wounded and kind of winded from all the other fights he's been in up until now. I don't think that'll be much of a fight. I wouldn't be surprised if that fight just is resolved next chapter. Like, oh, defeated Perospero. Frickin' Nekomamushi holds up his head like, I did it! Pedro, you are finally avenged. Tosses his head into the damn... No, he just eats it. He just tosses up the head and just eats it. Right, so that'll be that, right? It's the most grisly death, the most brutal that Oda has ever been. Oda had to get special permission from Shueisha to be like, listen, everybody, listen. I know this is a shonen manga. I know this, you know, there has to be a certain amount of blood and gore. We can't be too brutal with it. But Oda is like, you know what? This final battle between Perospero of all characters, I'm gonna make this bloody as hell. I mean, literally, Nekomamushi's gonna rip apart his freaking skin and his bone and his muscle. We're gonna see viscera flying everywhere, and then it's gonna end with him literally getting decapitated and Nekomamushi chomping down on his head. And my god, we are gonna go graphic as hell. It's gonna be a double-page spread of Nekomamushi just devouring. I'm gonna see his teeth piercing Perospero's flesh. and then it's just like, wow, that's pretty intense. I don't know if we could put that in Shonen Jump. But he's like, well, that's what has to happen. He's like, all right, I guess we'll sign off on it, but still, you know, like, that's going to be it. That's the one thing, the most seinen thing of One Piece. That's what it is. All right, well, anyway, yeah, let's go maybe 25 more chapters to end it on a nice 1050 kind of beat. Remember Dressrosa. Dressrosa pretty much started and ended from 700 to 800, roughly. So Oda had a nice, you know, 100 chapters there for Dressrosa. For Wano, you know, 1050, that'll be about, like, 140, 150-ish chapters, close to there. And then we can move on to the final saga of the story, I guess. Well, anyway, that's the video. So now we have to move on to not ant facts. Oh no, we've moved beyond paltry ant facts. Now it's time for bat facts. Oh yeah. The rest of this is not bat facts. What is this? This is the hell is this? Is this like a D&D? Oh, no, this is, okay. I'm back to RuneScape again. I'm back to RuneScaping once again. And this is a note list on how to get through the Theater of Blood, which I have still not defeated even the first challenge yet, so I don't think I'm high enough level, but, Bat facts, okay. No, bat facts. No, bat facts. Bat facts. Bat facts. Facts about bats? Okay, so bats, that you probably already know, are the only mammal species on the entire planet that are capable of true and sustained flight, which makes them way more smug than any other mammal, okay? Because they're like, ha ha ha, we can fly, check it out, we have wings, and we actually can fly with them. They're not vestigial, we're not like they're looking over at the flying squirrels. The flying squirrels think they're so hot shit, right? They're like, check it out, we can glide, yeah, we're flying squirrels. Bats will like punch a flying squirrel right in the face, like, haha, you can't fly, we can fly. So there's about 4,000 mammal species out there right now, like all sorts of mammals. That includes us, that includes cows, you know, tigers and stuff, okay? So out of all the mammal species in the world, though, bats make up about 1,000. All right, so that means 25% of all mammal species out there are bat species, okay? Isn't that cool? So yeah, they're capable of flight, and just another little fact for you that I thought was pretty interesting. Let's look at the smallest bat species and the largest bat species, okay? So the smallest, get ready for adorableness because this is great. The smallest bat species is the bumblebee bat. They called it the bumblebee bat. Isn't that so adorbs? Okay, look at this little guy. Oh my god. And then the largest bat, so this is a micro bat, obviously. The largest bat, mega bat, is the flying foxes. And there's actually a few different species of these, but literally they're called the flying fox bats. And that's understood because it's literally like a fox that has giant wings. Sometimes the wingspan can be over 6 feet wingspan, flying through the sky. And they mostly live down under, down in Australia and those areas and stuff. But, yeah, imagine just, you know, there's people around here that are terrified of bats, okay? And you don't see them super often. I mean, I go for walks at night and I'll see them like fluttering around and stuff, you know, before it gets too dark outside. But there's some people that really freak out about bats. Like the idea of having a bat like land in your hair is terrifying. I would love that personally. If I was hanging out outside having a fire or whatever and a bat just landed on my head, I'd be like, oh my god, this is so cool. I have been chosen by the night, you know, but no, imagine these things though, just flying out of the night, like towards you or like landing on you or something. And then that's how you know you're a superhero. You're a superhero at that point. If you're walking down the street in Australia and one of these things flies out of nowhere and perches itself on your shoulder, you're like, you have to be a superhero or a supervillain at that point. You have no choice, okay? But yeah, smallest bat and largest bats, okay? And so, yeah, that concludes the inaugural episode of Bat Facts. And so, yeah, that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. This will be Tekking and Barry signing out. Bat Facts! Na, 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 na.